Hey guys, what's up? This is Stuart Blues, and I'm back here with an update on Zomedica, ticker symbol ZOM, one of our favorites and a stock that has been on fire of late. We've been following this ever since it was just 44 cents per share. So congrats to those of you who have made it big with this update. Well, you now have 5 times your initial investment. But guys, remember that my videos do not give any financial advice. It's rather only for educational and entertainment purposes. Before I get deep into the direct offering that they recently had, finally you're aware that the direct offering has closed. It is complete. So as of now, I'm just hoping that we get to see an upward trajectory for Zomedica until at least the launch of the real format and also moving ahead from there. So once again, I'm going to talk about how we are likely to play Zomedica for the upcoming month and a half to 2 months. It's on my 1K to 10K penny stock challenge. We established a position for anyone who is into this challenge. I started the position yesterday with that portfolio at 2.21 cents per share. We have seen it climb up a bit, but again, today it's back to normal. So let's talk about the price action a bit. And if you would like to know, we're going to create a community where all of us can talk about offerings, stocks, and finances. We have many experts in this community to talk about finances and know a lot more than what I do about the stock market. Without further ado, let's start talking about Zomedica. Zomedica's stock listing is not in jeopardy anymore. The company's listing compliance has been regained of late, which is one of the reasons for its parabolic rise. The reinstatement is kind of bullish for investors, which has fetched a rush of retail investors. Zomedica stocks are not discussed much, but have turned out to be an evidently popular stock among traders. Let's begin with institutional ownership. Some of the biggest things that we have to always appreciate is, what are the big dogs doing? What are the people who have these hedge funds doing? How are they playing Zomedica? We can see here that with the dip that came in the previous few days, a lot of them increased position or started brand new positions. So if you see anything in green here, it means that they increased and started a new position. So we could see a few different ones. Some increased their position just by a bit in the last few days. However, the major one that we concentrate on here at the channel is Vanguard. So on February 20th, they possibly improved their position. If we access their chart here, you can find Vanguard. Guys, look at their shares. Multiply the shares held by 1,000 in the y-axis, and the x-axis is time. So you can see from this that they had a lot of shares and they sold off as time went on. Now, they have increased their size exponentially. Just take a look at the graph, most recently in February. Because, again, I'm thinking that they are likely to be playing this one like how we're going to do it on the Investogram team and channel. One important thing to look at is what the insider is doing. When we want to buy stock, we have to always make sure that we understand what they're doing. If you find them selling their stocks, they probably know something that we don't. They have some kind of information that we don't have access to readily as retail investors. The insider trading guys and a lot of people are saying, why are the insiders not selling? We have 70% insider ownership, 14.9% float, and 76 million insider shares of 108 outstanding. They did do the direct offering recently, which just closed like the way I mentioned. As you can see here, they mentioned that Zomedica plans to use the proceeds and the net proceeds from the offering for the incessant growth of its diagnostics platforms. It's not just the true form of even the ones that are presently on their pipeline, including making milestone payments, if any, as they are considered due under its present license and collaboration agreements for strategic acquisitions if and when they become available for the general corporate and working capital purposes, and may use a portion of the net proceeds to repurchase some of all its outstanding Series 1 preferred shares. So guys, according to me, this was a very smart move by the company. If we look at their price action, it's quite evident. If we look at the 1 month, it's been on a ride, guys. Let's go back 6 months, i.e. August 2020. If you open the chart to the point where they did sell, $1.90 is what they set the direct offering at, but they have surged 1,500%, which is a 5 times in price just in the last 6 months. So any company with a significant price action, it's still regarded to be a penny stock on microcap because it's a small firm, but it's growing significantly. It's sensible for them to look for extra revenue to increase their cash on hand and cash flow, even though they didn't require it. As you know, an earlier statement mentioned that they didn't expect a price run-up like this. So they are strongly holding on to their shares, which is something that you and I can look at. This is kind of comforting for now. Again, it's not any kind of financial advice, but I just wanted to give everyone a quick insight into float and insider ownership. When float is significantly less than the total number of outstanding shares, it indicates that insiders, officers, and employees own a huge percentage of the stock. Let's consider the case when the float is significantly less than the total number of outstanding shares. Now, if we get back to the insiders, the float here is 14% as against the total number of outstanding shares of 108 million. So, 14% float versus 70% of insider ownership. Going back to the definition, like I just mentioned, it suggests that insiders and offices own a huge percentage of the stock. This is true for Zomedica. This is generally a good indicator because the insiders believe in the company and their interests lie with yours for the stock price to surge. So, we are hoping that Zomedica will do very well in the near future. The recent future is that in March end, with the real formal launch and even moving forward, we're hoping that they will do very well because they have a solid background and solid fundamentals in addition to a strong and vast addressable market, which is likely to push the stock to continue to surge. Let me give you guys a quick recap on that again. It's finance.zax.com. I can link it below so that you can refer to it if at all you want to learn about stock lingo and other related aspects. On the other hand, heavy insider selling can shove a stock down, at least temporarily. With Zomedica, if the shareholders or the insiders start selling, we know what's likely to happen. It will probably push the stock down, but for now, that's not the situation. They are staying strong as there are many of us. I'm just hoping that we continue to witness the momentum surging forward following this direct offering. After the bleeding week, we discovered some good buying opportunities. I wish I got in at 213, but personally I got in at 221, as I thought it was a great point of entry. So if it happens to pull back lower than 221, I'm averaging down. I'll continue with daily uploads on day-to-day progress, especially on weekdays because the market is obviously closed during weekends. So I hope you guys have been doing well with your trading week so far. I know it's a red week, but just hoping you didn't indulge in panic selling and held on tight because I would always suggest avoiding panic selling. Rather, you can consider buying the dips, especially if you're investing in companies you really believe in long term. If at all you've panic sold, remind yourself and go back and think why you sold your shares knowing that the market might regain. Is it because you didn't believe in its long term? Is it because you failed your due diligence on the company? I always remind everyone to do this. If your answer to any of these questions is yes, it's time to look back and understand why you were investing in these firms or why you're putting your own money into it. Based on this, you can decide whether or not you want to get back in if you find it dipping even more. Of course, none of this is financial advice, but just an opinionated answer to any related questions that you may have. Until we meet next time, keep investing.